talking about Jack Hermansson versus Marvin Vittori. This is tomorrow night's main event. Looking forward to this one. Obviously, we've all seen that this has changed a few times. We started off with Jack Hermansson, Darren Till, then Jack Hermansson, Kevin Holland, and now Hermansson, Marvin Vittori. So we'll start off talking about Hermansson. Again, Hermansson's last fight, back in the summer, he fought Kelvin Gastelum. Very impressive fight this one, very quick performance as well. He had a first round heel hook, which you don't see a lot of. And I do have to say I thought this one was a bit lucky of him. I think Gastelum wanted to show off his wrestling a bit too much and he got caught. Not to take away from the fact it was a very skillful submission, but I don't think it's as, like I say, I don't think he'll pull off something like that again anytime soon. So obviously we can't take too much for that one, so we'll talk about Cannonier fight he had back towards the end of last year, and that was in Copenhagen in his home, well, not his hometown, his home country though. Obviously he had the crowd really behind him on that one, and I think personally the occasion got to him a bit. He really struggled from the start to the round 2 knockout that he ended up losing. He was going for takedowns early on, and I think he may have got one, but he couldn't hold him down at all, and all the rest was stuffed. And I think he went in with that game plan to take him down and do his work on the ground, and he couldn't get it done at all. He didn't show a great deal of much else in that fight. I really think he struggled. Obviously Cannonier's no slouch either, and it's not someone who's embarrassing to lose to by any means. So that brings us nicely onto the Jacare fight that he had in sometime early 2019. Complete opposite of the Cannonier fight. He did get the takedowns in this one, and that's not an easy thing to do either. The only other UFC fighter to take down Jacare is Chris Weidman, and everyone knows his wrestling credentials, and he is a very skillful wrestler. So he got the unanimous decision over Jacare, and I don't want to say it was easy for him, because a fight against Jacare is never easy. Jacare, I appreciate he may be on the downslide, but he's capable of beating anyone in middleweight division on his day. So he dominated from the top position for most of this fight, and I was very surprised not to see more from Jacare off the bottom, to be honest. Jacare's got good jiu-jitsu when he wants to use it. I appreciate he would rather stay on his feet. But then again, I think Hermansson's is very good on the feet as well, whether or not he does show it. I mean, he's got 11 knockouts in 21 fights, so I think that says a lot in itself. Okay, just a quick word on his record then. As I say, 21-5, 11 knockouts, 6 submissions, 4 decisions. His losses, he's got 2 knockout losses, 2 submissions, and he's lost 1 decision as well. I'm cautiously optimistic that this fight's going to be contested in the stand-up, but I'm not sure how it's going to go if it gets to the ground. I'll get to that a bit later on. So next we'll talk about Marvin Vittori. I think he's best known for his split decision loss to Adesanya, and to the best of my understanding, he's the only UFC fighter who's won against Adesanya on 1 judge's scorecard, which is very impressive. I appreciate that wasn't championship, is he? But he was certainly on the rise, and you could definitely have made the argument that he won that fight. I think he did pop USADA pop after that, which is a bit disappointing, but I mean it was still a very good performance. It was a 3-rounder, but there we go. He did win on a judge's scorecard, and no one else has done that yet. So let's talk about his last fight. He fought Carl Roberson. Roberson did miss weight. In the middleweight limit's 186. Roberson came in at 190.5, which I don't like to see. And I certainly don't like to see people who miss weight win, because, well, it's cheating essentially. I'm not big on the idea of weight cutting, but if that's what you do, that's what you do. So, fortunately though, Vettori got the first round knockout, and first round submission. It wasn't a jiu-jitsu submission. It was a case of ground and pound, take him back, rear naked choke. Not to take anything away from his performance, very impressive, but he has got 9 submissions on his record, but a lot of them are guillotines, rear naked chokes. They're striker-based submissions, really. They're not heavy jiu-jitsu submissions. He is a brown belt, and I think it would be good to see more of his technical jiu-jitsu, but I don't think this is the fight for that. Okay, so before that he fought Andrew Sanchez, tough 23 winner if everyone remembers that series. Now Sanchez is a very accomplished wrestler, All-American 4 times. I think he won 2 collegiate national championships as well. He did not take Vettori down once, so I think that says a lot for Vittori's wrestling defence, his takedown defence, and I think that stands him in very good stead for someone against Hermansson, who obviously struggled with a takedown against Cannonier. So what did he do well in this one? He showed a lot of very fast-paced striking, very technical, didn't punch when there was no need to, but when he saw his opportunities, he had some great combinations, good leg kicks, right to the body, and yeah, very technical striking, but also very high-paced, very accurate, with a decent amount of power behind it. Okay, so quick word on his record. He's got 2 knockout wins, 9 submissions, 4 decisions, and he's 15-4-1. But all his losses have come by decision. So I think it's very important to see that he's a fighter who's never been stopped before. And if you look at who he's fought, there's some decent opponents on there. So that's nothing to be scoffed at. But his last loss came against Adesanya in 2018, and before that he's only lost once in the UFC in nearly 5 years, so very impressive record. So we're going to move on to what I think is going to happen in this one. I think Hermansson's going to win. I appreciate it might not sound like that from what I've just said about Vettori, but I think Hermansson's got more high level experience. I mean, if you look at his last 3 fights, we've got Gastelum, Cannonier and Jacare. I mean, if any of them were the middleweight champion, you'd get it, wouldn't you? But if you look at who Vittori's fought recently, Carl Roberson, yeah, he's alright. Andrew Sanchez, sort of finding his feet still. I think he will get better, and I think he will crack the top 15 soon. But maybe not for another year or 2. So let's talk about the odds quickly. Hermansson to wins at 11-10. For him to win by stoppages at 21-10. And for him to crack decisions 5-1. Personally, I'm seeing a Hermansson stoppage round 2 or 3, maybe round 4. I'm gonna suggest it's a ground and pound style TKO, but it also might be a ground and pound and then a dodgy heel hook like he pulled against Gastelum. I couldn't be sure on that one. The main reason I think Hermansson goes into this with advantage is he's got the 5-round fights. He's gone the distance only once with Jacare, but he has trained twice for 5-round fights. He's used to being a main event. Vittori's never been a main event fighter before, and I think this is one of the biggest opportunities he's going to get. I think if Vettori does lose this one, he is going to drop off. Probably have to fight someone unranked next if he's not careful, or if he doesn't put in a good performance. Vettori to win is 8-11, for him to win by stoppage is 13-8, and for him to win by decision 3-1. Well, I appreciate he is going into this one as a favourite. I think a lot of people are putting a stock in his win on a judge's scorecard against Adesanya. Personally, while that was impressive, it was over 2 years ago. He popped after that. I think Adesanya's wasn't the fighter then that he is now. So I think people are reading a bit too much into that. And also the fact that Hermansson's had to change his camp up a couple of times for new opponents. But Vettori up until last week was meant to be fighting Jacare at UFC 256. So he's had to change opponents as well. And you can't say Hermansson and Jacare have similar styles by any stretch. Okay, so that's my pick for that one. Hermansson to win. I'm just going to be putting my money on him for the win. I don't feel confident enough to put money on the stoppage. And while the decision's 5-1, I don't feel that's a fair representation. I think decision should probably be a bit closer than that. I could well see this one going 5 rounds, to be honest. And if it does, that definitely favours Hermansson with the experience that he has, especially against high-level competitors. Okay, so that's going to round up today's video. Tomorrow we'll be doing a final breakdown of the full card. Obviously I've been doing videos throughout the week about each individual fight, but I'll just be doing a quick overview of each fight. Obviously my opinions may have changed throughout the week. I've had the weigh-ins today. I haven't checked them yet, but I'm assuming everyone's made weight. Everyone's looked okay. So I'll see you tomorrow with a final breakdown before we end, and I hope everyone has a great night.